All right, welcome everyone to our acu-connect webinar today. We're very excited to have you here to all talk about AI and ERP and how it's shaping the landscape now and into the future. So I'm so excited to have our presenter today, CJ Bogachevsky from Acumatica. He will be kicking it off around this amazing topic. But first, as you know, this is going to be recorded, and of course, we will send out the recording to everybody afterwards. So don't worry if you have to jump off or don't have time to take notes, whatever it may be. You'll be able to view the recording when it is all set, and we'll send out an email. So stay tuned for that. I'm still letting people in, so slowly giving some time here.
We're getting some background noise. If people could please mute themselves, that'd be great.
Yes, that would be good. Thank you, Darcy. Okay. A little bit about acu-connect. Again, thank you so much for being a part of our community. If you're not a part of our community, you can certainly sign up for free. Everyone is welcome at acu-connect.com, but we're here to bring you educational information, bring these subject matter experts from the community to chat with you about specific topics. And of course, we love to collaborate with you and our community. We have shared resources, educational videos. We have our annual Acu-connect event in September. So there's tons of ways to get involved. There's tons of ways to learn, network, and get your fill of Acumatica information. So we just want to take a quick moment to shout out to our community sponsors. And without them, obviously, we couldn't bring all of this magic to you and all of this content to you. So we truly thank them for that. And then last but not least, our sponsor for today is Avalara. So thank you, Avalara, for sponsoring. I'm just letting some people in. And we're going to find my message. In case you don't know who Avalara is, although I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Avalara is, but just in case you don't, they make tax compliance. Oh, admit more people in. They make tax compliance faster, easier, more accurate, and more reliable with 41,000 businesses and government customers in over 75 countries. Tax compliance automation software solutions from Avalara leverage 1,200 plus signed partner integrations across leading e-commerce, ERP, and other billing systems to power tax calculations, document management, tax return filing, and tax content access. Visit avalara.com to improve your compliance journey. And with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and hand the reins over to CJ.
Let's outside. Tap
All
to
right.
inflate your vest
And please mute yourself as well if you are coming in.
Necessary. An instant life vest will be
I will
distributed.
mute them.
Yeah,
Sorry about that,
I can certainly
CJ.
get some feedback. That's quite all right. Hey everybody, thanks for having me in. Amy, Darcy, thank you very much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys at Acu-connect today. This is a little bit of a reprise on an ITA talk from a panel that I was on in November in St. Petersburg. And I wanted to just refresh it a little bit and give it some of the slides that I was kind of drawing with my hand as we were going through that in ITA in November, for those of you who were there and saw it. I wanted to just give you today a pretty quick spin through the principles of innovation that are guiding Acumatica's AI and ML development. I'm going to talk a little bit about why the platform the ERP is built on matters a lot. I'm going to lay out for you Acumatica, its partners, and their joint customers, and what roles each of us play in the world of artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk for a minute about the collaborative framework that partners can use to efficiently build AI on the XRP platform. For those of you who know Acumatica well, you know the XRP platform and its capabilities. And last but not least, one of my favorite topics, any chance I have to talk about hallucinations and RAGs is always a pleasure for me. So we're going to talk about how large language models meet Acumatica's principles with a little help from my friends there, the RAG and the other guardrails that Acumatica has in place for folks who are building AI on top of XRP for specific use cases. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Please wave at me if you can't, or if you need me to slow down at any given point. Luckily for you, I'm not going to read slides at you, but I do put them here for completeness' sake. I know that it's recorded, and if people want to go back and read what's on the slides, it's certainly there for that benefit. But ultimately, where we start as Acumatica is with our principles of innovation. What are those principles? Well, the principles are responsible, practical, and valuable. So for us, we really, I'll have to excuse my throat a little bit. It's spring here in California and the wildflowers are out, so affecting my speech a little bit, unfortunately. We are really focused on security, privacy, quality and integrity of data, right? That level of responsibility around AI is super crucial. And we're going to talk when I come to the RAG later on about the importance of having data integrity to make LLM and their responses believable in a business context. That responsible frame in how Acumatica is innovating with artificial intelligence is a very, very important piece of the puzzle. In the end, the guardrail parameters are the things that are going to make AI ultimately more and more reliable in a business context. Practical, we don't develop for the sake of developing, right? We do our best to bring everybody in the community along with what artificial intelligence is bringing. You and I both know that 2 ERP releases a year is probably as much as customers can digest. Well, it turns out AI is moving much faster than that. So for us, we continue to apply the practical filter to make sure that the integration of new innovations are easy to start and easy to use. It can be quite overwhelming quite quickly if you start to try to keep up and bring the pace of innovation and AI onto the ERP platform if you're doing it in the wrong way. So that practical filter is an important principle as well. And then last but not least, it's that creation of value that also helps to guide our principles, because ultimately being valuable in your development of AI is one of the most important things you can do. Doing AI for the sake of doing it may drive customers away, may drive fear and uncertainty into the market. Our preference is to commit to delivering features that generate insights and enable business decisions, and working with our partners like our ISVs to securely deliver the capabilities that empower individuals and organizations into the future with this technology, right? Because in the end, it's with principles of innovation that people can learn to trust the path that Acumatica and artificial intelligence is on. It may come as a surprise to you. I have no idea if it does or it doesn't, but for many people, it comes as a surprise that we're already using AI in many different places within the core product, right? Everything from detecting anomalies to helping to automate the AP process, to reimbursing expenses, to auto prediction of text while typing. These things are already with us in terms of artificial intelligence and integrated seamlessly into the product. And so, the sense that AI is sort of creeping forward slowly into the product is actually a bit of a misnomer. It's been with us for a while, and the pace is only going to continue to increase much more quickly than any ERP can keep up with, right? Because the right platform, when you think about artificial intelligence, has to be able to accommodate it as it arrives, not necessarily continue to pick winners and losers and build out use cases while 300 other use cases are passing it by, right? So the speed of practical demand requires the right platform. And that's why I think XRP is such an important aspect of ERP and AI, right? If you're on a legacy system that doesn't have platform capabilities where you can't build out, if you're on a starter kit that isn't extensible and reliable and adheres to the principles of innovation that we spoke about, you're really going to be stuck on an island very quickly in a world of AI where the pace of innovation is high, right? If you recall, Acumatica has been built, cloud native, offering standards-based interoperability, ease of modification and personalization, seamless application updates, ubiquitous accessibility. It's really the opportunity to access the platform's capabilities and plug AI as it innovates and lands and creates practical use cases into it that gives Acumatica a distinct advantage in this space. And so for us, the important thing is to be able to continue to adhere to that responsible, practical, and valuable AI development that we need to carry into the future with this. So for us, you know, we see three things in the market in terms of AI. We see ourselves, we see our partners such as yourselves or our ISV partners or VARs, folks who are able to build solutions on top of the XRP platform, and the customer, right? So if you think about it, right, Acumatica has dedicated product management to continue to create these guardrails and guide development, provide those clear guidelines, help to prioritize and communicate with the community around it, and release generally available AI applications in the core product like the ones I described previously. For partners, really, it requires adherence to Acumatica's citizen developer and principles of innovation and the use of the development framework so that you can release partner-developed AI applications both on our marketplace and to our partner community for use. And customers ultimately have a voice as well, right? They understand what use cases are practical, which ones are their priorities. They feed that back and create advocacy mechanisms for which the guidance that the developers, both in the partner community and Acumatica, would be able to lean upon to make sure that we're matching to those principles of innovation that we just described. So, you know, when you come to developing artificial intelligence and machine learning, it's interesting to me because the idea that a large language model is something that you would base the development on is cost prohibitive. Everybody knows there are only a few companies in the world who can afford models are the domain of the few, and we have to leverage what it is that they're continuing to advance on to build our solutions around those. So LLMs really need to leverage data that's recent, Acumatica specific, relevant, and high quality, right? The issue that you have is if you're traversing a surface area that's undefined to create the large language model outputs, you can end up with quite a bit of inaccurate information, what I like to call hallucinations, right? And it's very difficult for large language models to allow you to trace back all of the base logic and the surface area that they did traverse to come up with the response that they did. So you end up in a place where oftentimes you can degrade confidence in the AI solution that you're trying to develop on the back of this LLM for which you have no real sort of economic means to offer complete control in terms of the development. And so the mechanism, the guardrails that would allow you to minimize these hallucinations are something that actually it is absolutely critical in order to establish this recency, this relevancy, this quality, and this specificity. So we call that a RAG, right? Retraining LLMs on the latest Acumatica specific info can be very expensive and inefficient, right? So the retrieval augmented generation provides relevant information to a large language model as a part of a prompt, right? And many people who aren't familiar necessarily with AI or don't fully understand how we're going to answer the objection, hey, I see you're putting artificial intelligence in your solution. How can I trust it? Well, the answer is this is one of the guardrails and one of the frameworks we can use to continue to build trust, right? If we can increase accuracy and reduce hallucinations, if we can improve auditability, and we can create a cost-effective framework against which we can develop solutions, that's really what matters, because it's that user query that first hits our RAG or knowledge base to determine what the context is, and feed that into the LLM prompt so that it's not traversing an entire surface area, it's traversing a very specific set of information based on that knowledge base's ability to augment the generation that the retrieval would create. So for us, this is just one good example of how we intend to, on our side as Acumatica, on the product side, offer the opportunity for partners to get to better answers about AI solutions that they can put on the XRP platform faster. And I hope that's an interesting way for you to think about it, because for us, one of the things that we continue to look at is, you know, how can we foster the maximum amount of information without compromising trustworthiness and adhering to those principles that we talk about. You can imagine, of course, that many other applications have artificial intelligence feature function sets that look like laundry lists that they're developing in the race to claim land out in the market with respect to artificial intelligence on their ERP platform. The important thing we find is not that. The important thing is to adhere again, to those principles of innovation that we were just talking about, and make sure that we remain practical and we remain responsible with the data that we have to make sure that those solutions reach the maximum audience and inspire the maximum confidence. So for us, there we go. For us, really, that's the thing that I wanted to highlight for you today. And that's something that I think is important, because as we look at the future of artificial intelligence within ERP, it's going to move much faster than the release cycles of ERP. And there's no way that Acumatica is going to develop each one of these use cases to a complete feature function set itself. It's going to be done on the XRP platform with our partners like our ISVs who develop those solutions and make them available across our partner ecosystem. So for us, really, that's something that I just wanted to highlight for you here today and take up as a reprise from the conversation that we had in November. I'd be quite happy to answer any questions or thoughts that you have at this point from anybody who's here in the audience today.
Thank you, CJ. Yes, if you have any questions, feel free to. You can unmute yourself, of course. You can put it in the chat and we'd be happy to answer them, or CJ would be happy to answer them, I should say.
So, try to, anyway. I'll leave it to you to please moderate those, Amy.
Yes, yep. I will. No, nothing in the chat yet.
Okay. Maybe I've subdued them into silence.
You were just so thorough that no one has any questions.
Never happened before, but it's possible.
Exciting to see, though, where things are going with Acumatica and AI, that's for sure.
Yeah, great.
Does anybody want to share any information about how you're using AI in your own businesses? Or your lives? I use it to write content. I use it to plan vacations.
Oh, I can't imagine working without it. See,
right.
So let me just say, my favorite way of thinking about AI is, I often hear people say, oh, AI is going to replace me, replace my job. AI isn't going to replace you and your job. The person who knows how to use AI is going to replace you and your job.
Right.
So I have a question, and as a non-techie, is there? So we're working on extracting underlying data so that one day we can point AI to our data stack and obviously creates better decision-making tools for ourselves. Is that, are we thinking about the underlying data of Acumatica correctly? I mean, it can be extracted. We're using DataSelf, which is one of the partners in Acumatica, in the Acumatica ecosystem. As a way of ring fencing data, is that a recommended approach? Is obviously all our data needs to be proprietary and kept under guard. Is that the right solution, or is there something else that Acumatica is thinking about doing for proprietary data?
Yeah, so good question. Thank you, Marco. What I would say is, what you're describing, it just depends really on the use case, of course. And that's probably something that if you wanted to discuss in more detail, we could. What I would say, though, is as a general principle, AI wants as much data as it can get and as current as it can get it. It has the capability within its large language model to traverse a gigantic surface area of what might otherwise be considered extraneous data and figure out sort of what it thinks it should do with it. And so to a certain extent, what you're describing is a bit more of sort of classic analysis on an extracted database, which is a little bit sort of pre-AI technology or pre-AI data surface exploration approaches. So to a certain extent, they could overlap, but for the most part, AI is really aiming at a very large set of data, and that's what these large language models are trying to make sense of.
And we do have a question in the chat. Is there any roadmap of new AI? Oh, sorry, someone just moved it. Okay. put something in. Okay. Is there any roadmap of new AI functionality to be implemented in upcoming Acumatica versions?
Yeah, we do try to, in our roadmap, include and point out all the feature and function sets that are being considered for incorporation. What I would say, though, is the vast minority would be included as core product, right? It's really the use cases where we find practical value. We would expect the vast majority of those use cases to be addressed by partners and ISVs who develop solutions for them. It's such a huge surface area that there's no way that Acumatica can possibly develop as core all of the features for all of the AI requests that are coming in. It's just not practical. And it's moving way too fast for a 2 release a year cycle, right?
Yeah, which actually, it's funny. The next question says exactly that. Since AI is expected to move faster than the 2 releases per year, how will partners be informed on new AI within Acumatica?
Yeah, the same way we do with everything else in our roadmap. We make it as public as we can, as often as we can. And hopefully you understand where to go to get that information in terms of what's in or what's out or what's being planned for any given release. Any
more questions? Feel free to put them in the chat or again, unmute yourself as well.
Disclaimer, of course, I'm not the product guy. Yeah. Good. Well, this was good. And of course, like I said, keep in touch with Acumatica, particularly around its product management function. We do continue to try to do our very best to inform our partners of where things are headed, what's included, what's in, what's out, how we prioritize, good approaches to do things. And we always look forward to that interaction. So please continue to work closely with us. And we're excited to see what our collaborations can bring forth in terms of innovation for our customers.
Yes. And with that, thank you so much, CJ, for being on our acu-connect webinar. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this month for this wonderful educational series, and I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.